Welcome on into Ring Chase and Jack O'Rourke here alongside Ethan Shaw. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe as always. Any like, comment, or subscription is one less tin can in a treehouse we are talking into. Hey, people are saying though this is the biggest 3-follower Cleveland Guardians podcast in the world. You know, I mean, there's some hype behind us, Ethan.
The train is beginning to leave the station.
We just confirmed there's steam in the engine and that there's tracks down the ground. Now we can get going as baseball season gets going. I'm back from Mexico. You're back from a lot of work, I'm sure. Yeah, something. I mean, I know you got a tough job. Regardless, Ethan, before we get into the Guards, Cavs, and Browns, first thing I wanted to hit on is a happy birthday for you. I don't think I've gotten to verbalize it. It was just your birthday. My birthday is coming up tomorrow.
Yes.
Are you a birthday cake guy, first of all, or are you a pie guy? Because I can see you being a pie guy.
So I'm a pie guy. I'm a mom's key lime pie guy. It's made a little bit differently, like it's a little more green, kind of more whipped creamy, homemade. That is, more so the my favorite part of the whole birthday is the cake. I'm not a fan of the candles and the singing the happy birthday, getting the saliva on the pie and the cake. I'm not a big fan of that.
Bob is a merchant for getting saliva on.
Yeah. But I appreciate the happy birthdays and a happy birthday early to you tomorrow. What is your, favorite part about your birthday?
Honestly, I think just the excuse of getting people together. Like it's another reason to get all your friends together. I think that's always a big one for me, just because we got, I mean, not that we're old by any stretch of the imagination, but as you get older, you're out of college. I feel like I mean, you get tired earlier. You don't want to go out as much, you don't go around as much. And it's it's cool every time you get people together. Yeah. I'm not really like a presence person at this stage of the game. I think we're a little bit past that. So yeah, I'd agree. Do you have like a favorite birthday memory though?
So weirdly enough, and this actually, my dad sent me this the other day when it was actually my birthday. For my 14th birthday, I was in Arizona and I stayed in, it was the Sedona area and then a little bit in Phoenix.
Hey, but Mike Vrabel was just there.
Mike Vrabel was just there.
He was. Yeah.
But I ended up going to the Grand Canyon on my actual birthday. My parents made me a sign that said, "It is my 14th birthday." And being a 14-year-old, I was incredibly embarrassed and did not want anything to do with that sign. So I had to walk around all day, log in this sign. And then there's this picture. So I refused to, I for some reason refused to let my parents take a picture of me holding it in front of the Grand Canyon. And then we're like, all right, it was great. We saw it. We left, went to a pizza shop right, outside of the Grand Canyon. And I felt bad for not holding the sign. So I'm like, you know what?
You got to hold this. You got to do it for your
parents. So I held the sign.
Thing, dude, as you get older, because everyone's that way when you're a kid. You're like, Mom, no. And it's like, you look back at it, you're like, why would I ever say no to just a picture for my mom? Just trying to capture the memories.
So one of my biggest regrets, but also a funny story to look back on. But yes, there's a picture of me holding that sign outside of a pizza shop. I'll have to send it to you and show you. But that was one of the more memorable, birthday memories. What about you?
Oh. I think there might have been 7th or 8th grade. I think I went to a Tribe game with my dad, Jack Whalen, and Max Waters, I believe was the crew. I also got a PS4 for my birthday that year, so that was just one of the greatest days of all time. I could be wrong about this. I believe Marlon Byrd also got popped for PEDs that day as well. at that 2016 Tribe team. Speaking of the Tribe, the Guards, whatever you want to call them. One of the hottest starts in baseball so far, Ethan, is we're now about 2.5 weeks through the season. Atlanta, first time you drop a series all year long. I think you're the second last team in baseball outside of Atlanta to not drop a series before falling twice at the Chop House over the weekend. You're out in St. Louis right now, which is a weird team. They're a bit younger. I feel like it's weird. Kind of it's not like the Yadier Molina Cardinals by any stretch of the imagination, because they're the damn JJ Weatherholt Cardinals, Ethan, and they'll get there one day. But since the last time I think we chatted right as the first homestand of the year started, so we got through that homestand a little bit into this road trip. Now I believe the fellas come back home on Thursday.
Yep, they're here for a weekend series with the Orioles. So the
And
Orioles
Ethan,
come
I
in
hope
with
they make a
that.
trade while the Orioles are in town, but I'll digress. Ethan, what's been the biggest thing you've noticed out of the last 2 weeks of Guardians baseball? Do you want to get off your chest for us to start with?
I think actually a lot of shocking things that I've seen, and more has happened than I think I would have expected. Usually, at the beginning of the season for most of the year, you get a lot of Jose, you get a lot of Kwan, Tanner Bybee will have a good outing here and there, Gavin will have a good outing here and there, but no, you have Angel Martinez who is slugging the ball, hitting grand slams, hitting for average, like looking like a really good everyday player. And Angel's been very good, and then on top of that, and as we all know, and it's been like this since opening day, but that the starting rotation has been shoving, and they've been very good. And obviously, Gavin got a little into some murky waters yesterday. We're not going to talk about Tanner 2 days ago, or maybe we could, but I think overall, I'm going to say Angel Martinez and this rotation has been amazing within these last couple series. That's been my initial takeaways. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, Ethan, that's a great place to start because I think the thing for it with Angie specifically too is we've talked about it really all offseason long at this point now, Ethan. That's the fact that no matter how you shape this lineup, there's probably going to be too many left-handed hitting bats at any given moment in time. So anytime you can throw in Angie, who's a switch hitter, Juan Britos hit some balls hard since he got in Cleveland. But honestly, the biggest thing about Angie, going back to that grand slam, what was that? Dang near a week ago almost now, probably when they smoked the Royals last week, but Angie last year was, if not the worst statistical hitter in baseball against right-handed pitching, Ethan, he was bottom five for sure. So to see him come out there, he's been hitting the ball hard off of righties too. I think his team's in a great spot too. I mean, honestly, getting Valera back now, even Kafis, the last couple of days he was up, I think he made some hard contact. At least I went to a game last week and he hit 2 balls hard out to the outfield wall that I could speak of for sure. But we're in a good spot too, especially getting George back now. I think he's going to debut in the lineup tonight here on Tuesday. We'll get him doctored in as the weeks go on. CDL, obviously he's slowed down pace a little bit. Probably wasn't going to hit 500 with 300 bombs this year, so you knew that was going to come. But Ethan, I guess the best way to summarize what I'm saying, outside of I'm happy that there's more than just left-handed bats contributing, is that there's a lot of depth right now at the major leagues, especially Daniel Schneeman, who, I mean, Ethan, I am not Daniel Schneeman's #1 supporter in the world, but heck, if the guy can hit the ball around the yard a little bit, he can play in a billion different spots. It's hard to take your guy D Schnee out.
Yeah, D Schnee's a big fool for the low and inside, breaking an off-speed pitch. But when it comes to Angel Martinez, I think the biggest jump we've seen this year has been the strikeout rate. Last year, he was one of the worst in the MLB when it came to strikeouts, just not putting the ball in play, and he's not walking. And we've seen a lot of guys, I mean, not to bring up Manzardo, he's one of them too, but, if you're not walking and you're striking out a lot, what value do you really have? And so, he's in the upper echelon, across the MLB when it comes to striking out this year. He's putting the ball in play, and, a lot of them are, getting through, and he's getting hits on a lot of these, but that's where you see the biggest growth and development. And, if you're putting the ball into play, that means you're seeing the ball well, and then you're more likely to have days where you end up with 2-3 hits, and then you hit a home run. Because I think he went 4 for 5 a couple of days ago before that in the Royals series too. So I think Angel has been, to me, one of the biggest shocking surprises. And we've actually seen now Jose get it going a little bit. Got a question for you. What are you temp check within the first few weeks on Steven Kwan? What have you been kind of feeling? And I'll preface before you answer that with, I obviously know he's getting a hit, almost every single game, and that's still very good. But I don't feel like we're seeing the ABs that we used to get from him. Maybe it's because he's more aggressive. Maybe he's trying to hit for more pop. But outfielders are playing him in, and these outfielders are playing him in. If he hits it over their head, then they're going to live with that all day long. Just, I guess, overall thoughts. What have you been seeing, from Kwan?
I think honestly, you're seeing what you've seen from Steven Kwan really the last 2.5 years, almost probably going back to, I think it was 2024 maybe, when he had the crazy start to the year, and then it was a hamstring that kind of tapered him a little bit. And I think really ever since even then, he's lost a little bit of speed, and things haven't totally ramp back up, I guess you could say, for Kwan. But it's just the issue of you're never you would never take him out of a lineup. I mean, not that he's even close to that point in the first place, but he's too valuable in the fact that he can put up good at bats, and he's going to put up long at bats. That's something that's going to come back. It's been a part of Steven Kwan's career basically the whole way now. He's going to get on base to some extent. Like he's going to get his bloop hits and his choppers through. Like that's just what he does. But it's just now more of an issue, Ethan, of is he worth the, I don't know what Steven Kwan's asking for, but is he worth the 22 million AAV, Ethan? Because I think that's where we're having a discrepancy in conversation. Like, is Steven Kwan fine for what he is right now and what he's being paid? Absolutely. But as you start to look at extension talks or a trade, knowing that, hey, that's probably already started, / is around the corner, I don't think you can comfortably pay Steven Kwan what he's likely asking for. So I think that's really where your answer lies. And I don't know, man. I'm just really curious because let's say, for example, I mean, is Angie going to hit 330 the whole year? No, probably not. Is he eventually going to start to swing a little bit more out of the zone? Maybe the play discipline stays. I sure hope it does. But like Angie's going to regress back a little bit. But let's say it's not crazy. Let's say Angie can stabilize at like a 270-ish, above 700 OPS bat who puts up fights against righties and can play every day, right? Mm-hmm. If Angie's doing that, Chase DeLauder, if he goes 0 for his next 100, if he's healthy, he will be in the lineup, right? You're not taking Chase DeLauder out. Mm-hmm. Let's say George Valera hits the ball decent. Like we know the pop's there with him. Like he can be inconsistent at times with the contact, but like let's say he sticks. Let's say he hits bombs like he did last year in the wild card round. If you got those three and you don't feel horrible about those three, and maybe you feel that there's a Stuart Fairchild in Columbus who can come up and take at bats against left-handed pitching, if you need to kind of fill that in for Kwan a bit, mm-hmm. I think there's a world where you can trade Kwan to improve what else is on your team right now, while still looking towards the future. But long answer short, I'm not worried about Kwan. I think the parts of what makes Steven Kwan are still there / will show up more as you get past April 14th and a long baseball season. But I'm very curious how well or how far he picks it up, because I think you're looking at a very interesting conversation come trade deadline time. How about you?
And that's, and all the points that you make are making thoughts pop into my head. And what I'm also seeing too is we haven't seen Kwan really be able to hit with runners on consistently with his career with Cleveland, because our 7.89 was so bad. But our 7.89 has actually been getting on base a lot. Hedgie's been getting on base. He's been drawing walks.
Roki, he might be your starting catcher. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to get a click. No, he might be the best option to play every single day.
He's seeing the ball so well. He's walking. He's putting the ball in play. So like this 7.89 is, they're getting on base. And one of the big at bats with Kwan that I remember was the first game in that Brave series where we get bases loaded, and it's 7.89 that are on the pond, and Kwan grounds out to second base. And it's like, we're like, we want to see this ceiling. We want to see Kwan fully be that like elite all-star level hitter that he's been the last 2 years. But I don't know. I just don't see. I don't think he's been swinging at first pitches. To me, I don't think he's been right. I've seen peak Kwan and I've seen ceiling Kwan. I don't think that that's how it is. And the point that you bring up with, the money that he needs to get paid, it just doesn't look like that's how it's going to be.
You know who he kind of reminds me of? And this is not a shameless transition for whenever this Guardians conversation wraps up. There's a little bit of Evan Mobley to Steven Kwan in a way, where like they came in and just like lit up expectations from the jump. Obviously Evan Mobley was a lottery pick, top 5. Like, yeah, he's expected to do really well. Kwan, a 4th round pick, not the same. But we all remember like what his first 50 swings, he didn't swing and miss or something like that. Like that crazy meteoric start to the year, had that walk off against the Padres like early in April his rookie year. And they both just kind of like almost unfairly in a way from where they were at and how hot they started, got these just massive expectations for what they could be one day. Like, will Kwan be the next Luis Arraez, just 330 hitter? And then Kwan comes back the next year or the year after, and it was like, oh, he had 5 home runs through April. Like, now is Kwan going to be a 315 and 20 home run bat? Is Evan Mobley going to be a 23 and 11 guy every single night? Like, you kind of get these like expectations that rise. Yeah, like Kwan gets every single Gold Glove in the world. Evan Mobley gets his depoy. Like they're putting it out there on that side of the ball as well. And then like obviously Mobley already got the money in the NBA. You have to get it if you get the certain like rate kickers, I think they're called, for like the awards and shit. But like Kwan's going to get big money from somewhere. I think we can all agree on that, whether it's in Cleveland or probably Los Angeles or something like that, because they can just sign everyone in the world. I think both of them are just kind of like maybe stuck at that like B+ to A- level of their sport when everyone thought they were a shoe in A+.
They're stuck at
Crazy.
they're stuck at we already showed you our ceiling. And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and that's the really tough part about it. That's a great comparison too, because it's like Kwan's always going to give you a Gold Glove and left. Mobley's always going to give you great defense. It's like I don't, what else is there? Like it's like
Yeah.
poking the stick at it. Like what else can you do for me?
No, I think
I don't. I don't.
Only other thing I was like pressing to talk guards. I don't know about you. Was I just like, and again, he got a hit last night. We talked about before last night. So I mean, yeah, like you can comment he got a hit, screw off, whatever. But David Fry, I'm a little bit worried, man, and it's just more so maybe my excitement for what's in Columbus also / the bats who aren't getting everyday at bats in the major leagues. I think it's a combination of both of those. I just don't know how long you can stick David Fry out in right field when he's probably not a right fielder and stick him behind the plate like you did in Atlanta, when really I think you're not wasting a roster spot, but you really can't have 3 catchers in a way and all 3 of them can't hit. No offense to Austin Hedges and his American League leading 450 batting average.
Yeah, so my biggest thing with David Fry is confusion. So, and that's why we wanted to talk about this with you as well, because I just don't really know what the outlook is. So I know he obviously, and you're better at knowing contracts than me, re-signs a 1-year deal, puts him in arbitration for next year, wouldn't hit free agency until 2030. But he is just such a marquee, like we trade him for like a good reliever in AA or a good arm in AA to like the Giants or something like that. And I like how the Giants are always the destination. But I think he provides, an amazing, clutch gene, and we've seen that before. I mean, he's a guy who's a career, 106 WRC plus guy, which is obviously good. Any team would take a guy who's over 100. But I don't think that he really excels in any position that he plays. And I don't think that the bat is good enough for him to be a DH for a lot of teams.
And your team isn't good enough to have a full-time pinch hitter.
Exactly. And so you already have a log jam with DH. He doesn't really wow you with his glove anywhere, but he's good enough to play anywhere. But his bat is not good enough. But I enjoy having him on the team, but I don't want to pay him a lot of money. So it's like you're kind of stuck in like
he'll never get the money. He's peak money. He'll get what Nolan got, like $2 million, something like that.
Yeah,
the money won't be an issue, especially because in La Mole, Fran Mills' eyebrow put out a tweet about this to try and give credit. I don't have the exact numbers, but like it was pre his All-Star appearance, which is again, and I've said this a million times, might be the most fraudulent All-Star appearance of all time because Vladdy was smoking him and got hurt with 2 weeks left. But regardless. Pre-All-Star game David Fry and post-All-Star game David Fry, the numbers are just they don't number. They're not at all similar. Like it's over a year and a half of a sample size now. Like it's tough. I mean, as dumb as this sounds, it's tough for a hitter to come back from Tommy John at the same time. There's a reason why Will Brennan isn't playing Major League Baseball right now, and that was over a year ago too, right? Like it's tough to come back from that, especially when like really even at his peak. Like I remember when David Fry was in AAA too. Like it was like, well, I remember a time when like I would just like daily check their box score. I'm like, who the hell is this Fry guy? Like center yesterday, like catcher yesterday, left field today, first base today. Like I mean, what does he play everywhere? And like his main value pre-injury was what he did in the field. And yeah, like you're always going to hold the All-Star appearance, the home run at Comerica, the home run, the walk-off after Jonk. Like he's had the clutch moments, but there's a certain point in time where how long ago were those clutch moments? Like I mean, Jonk had a clutch moment that night. He ain't around anymore, and he's done about the same thing since then as David Fry.
Yeah, I think I might just be, a fan of the magic and a fan of, all those moments that he had provided. But I just don't.
Penn and Teller stopped making good magic. They weren't touring Vegas anymore. There's certain where if you're not making the magic, you're not making the magic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're supposed to be a specialist against lefties as well. And I mean, he might be recovering from,
He hit like 180 against them last year.
He got hit in the face. He got demolished in the face. He had that. Did he have Tommy John?
That was before last year.
Okay. So yes, I mean he had Tommy John, but just I guess dealing with the injuries, I don't know. Like I said, I just don't feel like there's really a place for him.
There's not.
And it seems like he's going to be someone who's a prime candidate that might be on the trade block here coming up
Yeah, I think also I think he still has an option left as well. So I think he's someone who could also get moved down if need be. And I don't know. I think like whether it's like I said the name earlier, but like Stuart Fairchild for outfield depth, you need another right-handed catcher. He's like Stu could help out. There's a bunch of shit you could do as the year goes on. Ethan, flipping it over to the NBA playoffs, you've probably got a lot more knowledgeable, good things to say than I do on this, Ethan. So I'm going to let you primarily take the floor here. Let me ask you this first, just as a Cavs fan, should I have any, like, I remember even before the Pacers series rounds, like, I remember, like, round one, like, hey, like, should we have any problems with the Heat? Everyone's like, if we lose to the Heat, like, you should stop watching basketball. Before the Pacers series, there were a lot of people out there who said, hey, this team can run you some issues. I know, so we're back to the first round. It's a Raptors team who, before the Cavs traded for James Harden, I believe swept the Cavs on the campaign. So
they did.
Different ball club, but a lot of the same ball club, and they swept them earlier this year. What do you see out of BI, Scotty Barnes, and the folks in Toronto? Is there anything they can do to take the Cavs in a 7-game series? That was eight fingers, Ethan. Holy crap!
Yeah, I definitely think that this can be a competitive series, and for some reason, Toronto and Cleveland have always clashed, in our lifetime in the playoffs, and we have another great matchup in front of us. Toronto really interests me because they're kind of built like a college team where, their leading scorer is BI, who averages 21, but then you have a couple other guys funneled down, with like RJ Barrett with 19, Scotty Barnes 18, Emmanuel Quickly 16. Like that's kind of like a college basketball team in a way where like it's like leading scorer is 15, then it's 12, then 11, then 10. Like there's no, Luka who's averaging 29 in this team. So like they're kind of a mix, and they kind of live more off of like a whose night is it type of ordeal, and that can be very scary, especially for a team who when you're trying to make a game plan, it's like, well, who do we want to take away tonight? I don't know. There's 4 guys, none of them are out of the ordinary superstars, but they all can really hurt you if it's their night, and even more so if those couple of those guys are really on their game, then this could be a long night for you. So I think there's a lot to take in when it comes to the Raptors, and their guards and their forwards are going to be a big, majority of their points are going to be coming from those. Their bigs, I'm not the biggest fan of. Obviously, Jakob Poeltl is a great rebounding center. I'm not even going to attempt to say this guy's last name, Mamukila Shively. I think that's how his last name is pronounced.
Okay, close to me, brother.
But I think the battle is going to be one down low for Cleveland. I think with Mobley and with Allen, I think our bigs are way better than theirs are. If we're able to get it down low, and Harden's been very, very efficient when it comes to those two bigs. If we're able to get it down low and get that scoring, I don't see any reason why we don't win this series in 6 games, 5-6 games. But this won't be a sweep. Unfortunately, they'll be a little nervous of a series. We were not going to sweep this team. And that's just because of how the Cavs have looked this year. I think there's never really been a time, other than maybe in these last 20 games, where the Cavs have looked complete. I think they've gone on a lot of win streaks, haven't dropped too many games. They might be like 12-3 over their last 15. I mean, Nikhil Tomlin, the last game that we played at 28, and he hit 4 threes. He looked electric too. Maybe he'll get some run on the bench. But we get to playoff Harden. We get to see playoff Harden in Cleveland. That's going to be a big telltale sign of how the Cavs look. So
yeah, I think that's kind of exactly what I wanted to talk about too in terms of my thoughts of the first round. So great segue with playoff Harden. I'm excited, dude, because if you say this series comes down to what's going to happen down low, that makes me feel a hell of a lot better about the Cavs actually. Because I don't know, there's for sure a stigma about playoff James Harden. I'm not breaking any news to anyone saying that. Obviously, the guy's been to a plethora of conference finals. He went to the finals with the Thunder probably, what was that, 30 years ago now at this point with the baby Thunder.
13. Yeah.
30. No, I think it's 3-zip, dude. It was long. But I don't know. I even remember he had a couple of games early. Was it the Nuggets who they had that crazy playoff series against and lost game 7-2 last year, I believe, in the first round?
With the Clippers?
Yeah, it was Nuggets Clippers, right?
Yeah.
And I just remember James Harden had a couple of big games earlier in that series, and I think the classic playoff Harden moniker kind of resurfaced as that series went on later and later. And I think one of the issues about that team was you still kind of needed James Harden to pour in the points. Kawhi is Kawhi, obviously, but James Harden was asked to do something totally different than just straight distributor James Harden, who obviously can go out and put up as many points as he wanted at any given time. But he is looking to give the ball to these guys down low. And that's why I think you're going to see a different Jared Allen than you've seen the last couple years in the playoffs.
Mhm.
That's why I think you're going to see a more consistent Evan Mobley. Like, obviously, Evan Mobley is going to have that eternal chip on his shoulder because of the rookie of the year he lost out to on Scotty Barnes. But, like, I'm in a good headspace about this one as a Cavs fan, Ethan.
I am too. And I think with these Kenny Atkinson teams, and especially the last few years, whatever the expectation might be, we seem to, have a good handle on the first round at the very least. We blew the Heat out of the water last year. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot of, Donovan Mitchell trying to, do everything he can. He's got to rely on James Harden to, take the load off of him and, help out a lot. But I mean, yeah, I think with what you were saying when it comes to, fully unlocking these bigs, it is James Harden. And obviously Strus is back. So that's going to help us on perimeter shooting, Merrill. This has kind of been a more, injured Cavs team over the last, 82 games this year too. Mobley's only played 65
It's
games.
not for the awards. But dude, I mean, that's one thing. I mean, it's other people have said this too, but I firmly believe it. Like, would you not that I mean home court matters. Home court matters. Let's establish that before I say anything, before I go too deep into anything. I would rather come in as a team that no one's really looking at is like, oh, like here's they're the crown them already, like last year. Like, I don't mind coming in the exact same spot that the Indiana Pacers came in last year, where you play not great basketball in the first half of the year. Obviously, the Pacers' first half last year is even worse than the Cavs this year. And then, like, you kind of sneak in, you get a matchup against a 1 seed who people nationally are not really that high on, like the Cavs last year. I think, like, in Cleveland, I think we kind of had the blinders on of, like, oh, this is the best thing ever. Nationally, even, like, in December of last year, people were saying we were the Hawks team that won 60 games or whatever. Like, I remember that live when it happened. Like, I don't hate being the team where it's like, okay, like, if they get hot, who the hell knows? Even though there are massive expectations still. It's the most expensive roster in the NBA.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I think it's just interesting too, because there's a big storyline there with Mitchell and Harden. Two guys who've never really been able to follow through in the playoffs. Like, there's a really big storyline there, and I'm super excited to see how the Cavs in this playoffs plan out.
Hungry dogs run faster. Two of the best players in the NBA who don't have a finals to their name, or a championship to their name, rather. Hungry dogs run faster. Hungry dogs run faster, Ethan, but our dogs over in Berea tend to mess everything up, basically. That's about all I can say. And they do have 2 first-round picks. Obviously, you could trade down and get more than 2 this year, Ethan. 6 and 24 for the Browns. Obviously, like, I feel like on draft day when you make that trade last year, kind of thinking like, oh, the Jaguars are going to stink again. We're going to have number 3 and number 7. We're going to trade up and get Arch. Oh, laser eyes. That didn't happen. The Jaguars actually didn't even use Travis Hunter. He didn't play half the year, and they still ended up in the back half of the NFL in terms of finishing well in the standings. Ethan, 6 and 24. Do you want me to give what I think the Browns do, or what I think they should do first, or do you want me to?
Would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. I'll give you the 2 routes because I think that there's 2 things that they could do. Ethan, I have them up here. I actually don't see the Browns taking Carnell Tate at number 6. It's more not that I don't think Carnell Tate is worthy of it, because he obviously is, but I think that it's just like there's so many dogs at receiver in this draft where, like, you can go out and get a guy at 24. And also, like, if you look at the history of the Cleveland Browns, like, I think the last time we drafted a receiver in the top 5 was Braylon Edwards, and that was 2005. So that's like over 20 years ago at this point. AB consistently throughout his tenure. And again, he hasn't had a ton of first-round picks to work with, so take that as you may.
His fault, by the way.
Oh, no, it is fault. Yeah, and it is his fault. He hasn't drafted any receivers in the first round. I think the last even technical first rounder is Josh Gordon in the supplemental draft in 2013. I don't see them going that high on receiver. I also think they trade back, and I think it's because of what we just talked about, Ethan, the fact that when you trade 4 years of first-round picks and lose out on 5 years of guys' contracts and the amount of starters you can plug and play, like, look at how we got, like, Schlesinger and Q in the second round last year. Like, getting those kind of guys in the first round, like, that would have changed everything over the last 4 years. I think you're at a point now where you have to try and recoup that and get some picks back. So, Ethan, I think they trade back. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's going to be for picks this, and that with this team. But I think ideally you try and end up with either another early second rounder or pick up on another team's first, and you get 2 first or 3 first this year. But I think they end up going tackle whenever they make that first pick. I think that ends up being whoever falls out of Caden Proctor, Monroe Freeling, maybe like Caleb Lamu.
Spencer Fano.
I think Fano and Maui Goa will be gone if they trade back. Whereas I think the other three could be around still. But I mean, Ethan, I think Spencer Fano is going to be awesome. I would love to have him at 6.
Yeah, and I think even more so, just looking at how this draft is unwinding and looking at mock drafts, like Browns obviously at 6, Commanders 7, Saints 8, Chiefs 9, Bengals 10, Dolphins 11. I mean, every single team there, besides maybe the Chiefs, needs an O lineman. So like I could see that definitely they could trade back a few slots, maybe for a team that wants to shoot up and maybe try to slide in, but like the back half of 1 through 10 is going to be, a waterfall of O linemen. So, maybe the Browns would want to take their best pick and see, we think that this is the best O lineman prospect. We're going to take him. Or if it's too much of a big group together and not one person sticks out, then maybe they'll trade back and try to just see, who they kind of get and when it falls to you. But like also at the same time, like, you're the Cleveland Browns. Let's have some aggression here, man. Like when have we had a great winning season, besides the Baker years and some of them, like how long has it been? Like let's try to take the league by storm. Let's do our own thing. Let's have some confidence and go out and say, you know what, I want Spencer Fano. I want to take him, with the 6th pick, and not just let him see what everything falls into your lap. But you're right.
I agree with that too, because in a way, like the last thing me, you, or anyone else in the world needs is like DeJuan Jones at left tackle next year. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I mean, if you're looking at like higher structuring as of right now, I mean, you're thinking Titus Howard's probably at right tackle. I mean, with Elgton Jenkins, he can play guard. So like if you need him to go to guard, you can put him at guard. With Zion Johnson, like I probably wouldn't want to play Luke Whippler at center, but like that
no.
Could be a possibility. I don't know. Like, I mean, there's a million ways you can go about it. Like, there's a name, Chase Basantis, I believe it is. He is a Texas A&M guard who I think people are looking at a lot in the 2nd and 3rd round, linked to the Browns possibly. So like, maybe you can fix guard right there and then like push them out to left tackle. But I don't know. I would love. I mean, if you get Fano or Carnell Tate at 6, I'm pretty dang happy. And with the cool one, I have to say, if he falls to 24, or if you end up like trading back and having a pick or like 15 to 18, I would love Jordan Tyson in a Browns jersey. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think I would like him too. I just get worried with the injury concerns, and I understand that. But I was seeing a lot of comparisons to Garrett Wilson. Just an absolute joystick, can run any route, can put him anywhere on the field, and he's quick, elusive, explosive, can just be an absolute game breaker for you, which I love myself. But also at the same time, I can definitely see that reuniting the Tyson brothers. And I know he's in that little graphic down below me, but like when do you not just take the chalk and when do we learn a lesson with these Buckeye receivers? And I understand it might be a tired take, it might be a tired conversation, and he might not seem like one of the best prospects to come out. But like now that Emeka Egbuka, like I did not think that Egbuka.
They didn't. Well, not that they didn't have a chance, but like when you're playing, I mean, Egbuka had what, a year with Marv and a year with Jeremiah Smith, right? Like, so I mean, you're two of the best wide receiver ones in recent college football memories. Like that's tough. Like Carnell Tate's in the same boat. Like, I mean, you do like just because you weren't the number one or you had the counting stats in college doesn't mean you can't go out there and do it. Like, I mean, Carnell Tate, not Tet McMillan. Carnell Tate is a ridiculous vertical threat.
Yeah, and I don't care if he had a drop or two against Michigan in the Michigan game. Like, who cares? Who gives a fuck? Like, I'm totally would be on board for Carnell Tate. They're not gonna draft him with that 6th pick. I don't think that they will. The one thing that we can agree on though, Jack, like I think, and this might be like the least stressful draft for Browns fans because like we don't have the number 1 pick, so it's not like, oh, let's mess it up. But like
there's literally one way they can mess this up.
Yes, and it's not receiver or lineman.
It's not even that. It's not even that. I mean, if you like. No, I'm a big believer in best player available. And again, I'm not saying they're going to do this. I'm not saying they should do this. But in a way, like, if Jeremiah Love's at 6 and he's best player available, sometimes you take the best player available if you think he's
okay.
No, that wasn't where I was getting at. That wasn't what I was getting at. But, like, I'm saying you take the best guy. If Caleb Downs is there at 6, you consider taking Caleb Downs because Caleb Downs is ridiculous and Ronnie Hickman, who gives a shit about him? Like, I think the only way you can mess this up, like, literally there is one way. And that is you take Ty Simpson, whether it be at 6 or at 24. That is the only way you can mess up the first round is if Ty Simpson's name gets called out. Unless unless you trade back and you get another first, and then it's like, okay, you go Monroe Freeling at 12, Jalen Tyson or Jordan Tyson. I'm a moron. Jordan Tyson at 18, and then you go and loop and you get Ty Simpson at 24. Like in that scenario, I'm fine if you go quarterback, receiver, tackle, but even that you shouldn't do. Like, I mean, the only way you can mess it up is taking a quarterback.
We might accidentally like have Tyson fall into our lap just because I've been seeing it a lot the last few years, especially as medicine has advanced. Like a lot of these teams have been very cautious with drafting injury-prone players and as well as players with a little bit of injury history specifically. So like maybe the Browns trade back to like 14, 15, and maybe Tyson's still on the board and we're able to draft him there.
I'm Mike Chernoff. I'm calling Andrew Berry and I'm saying, hey, I got this Chase Delar kid over here. He's made of glass. He's working out pretty damn well for me right now. So Tyson.
Yeah, and it's like that ceiling is way too good. As far as Ty Simpson goes, I love Browns fans and I love Browns media because we're so used to it every single year not having a quarterback that we always throw out like the one marquee quarterback that's like not going to go number 1 or number 2, but like he'd be the 3rd or 4th quarterback off of the board, but he could end up being the next Tom Brady in the NFL. And it just
if you watch the SEC championship, there is zero reason to take Ty Simpson.
Yeah,
not one. Like, do you remember last year? Like when you take Dylan Gabriel and every single person is like, well, why the hell did you do that? Like the millisecond they did it, like not a day later, like the moment they said his name, they were like, well, why? That doesn't make sense. Yeah. I didn't even that would be like this year. Like I'm saying, it's not because they're both lefties, and I actually like this kid more than I liked Dylan Gabriel coming out of the draft. Like Cole Payton from North Dakota State, he's going to end up going off the board probably like 5th to 7th round as a quarterback, right? Like Dylan Gabriel, I remember like the 4 times I saw his name leading up to the draft. It's like, oh, like the day 3 or UDFA candidates, Dylan Gabriel, like that'd be like if in the 3rd round this year, it's like Cleveland Browns, Cole Payton, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from?
Yeah, where did that?
No one saw that happening. Like there's no reason for it, dude.
We drafted 2 quarterbacks last year, and we still are stuck with the
fact that they had probably, I'm not even trying to be funny, 14 out of 22 positions having a need out of offense and defense, and they drafted 2 quarterbacks and 2 running backs in the same draft is one of the most Scott insane things of all time. And they traded for another quarterback.
Yeah, they did. We were staying away from quarterback this draft. I'm sorry. Like,
yes.
I unless there's something that I don't know, and
no, it is say no to drugs, say no to quarterback.
Yeah, unless like I'm really like I don't know anything about football or how organizations work. Like, there's zero reason to draft a quarterback this year.
No,
like there's absolutely none. Another point where I completely lost my train of thought that I was going to ask you about when it comes to the Browns linebacker. You pretty much stay away. I think obviously Devin Bush is gone, correct?
Yeah, you got Quincy Williams though to fill in his spot.
Quincy Williams is filling in, and obviously you have Carson as well. You run it with those guys. The linebackers are staying the same.
I think it's either if you're gonna go defense at any point in the first 3 rounds, I think it's probably in the secondary or off the edge. I think it'd be someone to complement Miles. But even there, like, they just re-signed Isaiah McGuire and Alex Wright, so that shows a little bit of faith in those guys to figure that out. So maybe it's not there, but like corner, I mean, Campbell was good last year, but like he's been shaky throughout his career. Like I don't know if he's going to be a bounce back or not. Denzel's not getting any younger. Like I think corner's a position.
Corner's going to be big.
And then just, I mean, like I'm not dead set on Ronnie Hickman as the future at free safety. So like if you want to go draft Caleb Downs, like I'm down with that.
If we had a Mel Kiper best available positions wise, and then they showed in the draft from the bar, the Ring Chasing podcast would be in this order: would be O lineman, wide receiver.
I'm a receiver over O tackle, dude.
Wow. Okay, it's that bad for you.
Well, here's my thing. You made strides on the offensive line, like just quite literally solely off the fact that I am damn near guaranteed KT Leviston will not be taking NFL snaps next year in games that matter against playoff teams with great defenses like the Bears. the O-line is going to not get Shador or Deshaun or whoever they pick to play quarterback, ideally Shador, killed. I can't say the same about the receiving core getting any better. Like, I still think that Jerry Jeudy is a really good wide receiver 2.5. I think Isaiah Bond is a cool story, and he caught a couple cool passes, but like, I'm not married to Isaiah Bond. Like, you have to make a big improvement to the receiver room in the draft. Like, there has to be like, this can't even be like, see, we got Chris Bell at our second round pick. Like, this has to be like, I'm not walking out of there with one of the and by the way, no, Mekhi Lemon. Mekhi Lemon is my height, and he's not really that fast in the first place. So we're not doing that because Jerry Jeudy needs to go back into the slot unless you go out and get Concepcion. Because Concepcion is a dog. Like, I know he has catching issues, but I can just tell you solely off of watching Lemon play Notre Dame and Concepcion play Notre Dame, Concepcion's better. And he's supposed to be drafted later anyways. Like, I'm cool if him fits the slot, but I need Tate, Boston, or Tyson. Like, I need like a actual like dude on the outside. One of those has to happen. And maybe it's even you do it at 24. I still think it's a bigger need than no tackle.
Yeah, honestly, you might be right. And apologies for speaking for you, because I honestly figured both of those were such gleaming issues.
Well, they're both, Matt. Yeah, I mean, it's like what do you need to do more to stay alive? Eat or drink? Like, they're both like, drink water, eat food. They're both very damn important.
And that's the thing too, is like with skill positions, specifically when I'm thinking of running back, receiver, tight end. It felt like last year we actually had a great draft with skill positions. It's just
100%.
not with receiving. Like, the receiving core, your tight end in modern day NFL cannot lead.
Who's the last good receiver we drafted? I'm not trying to be funny.
Josh Gordon.
Supplemental draft. I don't even count that. I mean, you got him, yeah, but like, it's not even an NFL draft. Like, it ain't Cedric Tillman. No. I mean, like, I think the best receiver you've drafted
not Jamari Thrash.
The best receiver you drafted in the last like 8 years is Donovan Peoples-Jones. Unless I'm missing a name. Am I? It ain't Michael Woods. It ain't David Bell. Sure.
David Bell was such a David Bell.
Corey Coleman was the last first-round receiver. I said Corey Coleman.
If you're gonna play me, just trade me.
Why am I running with the second team?
Yeah,
probably because you suck, Corey.
But our skill positions, besides receiver, was great. Like, the running backs we got. I'm obviously a big fan of Jared because he's already fully like healthy. He was like walking perfectly fine. Like that, I'm not even too worried about how he's going to look. Fannon's awesome, and I loved Njoku, but you're kind of out of it.
He could be back, dude. He's not signed anywhere.
That's true too.
It's like a pay cut to be a tight end too. I think he could be back.
Yeah, I guess to me, receiver seems more oversaturated than a lineman when it comes to how these teams look. And like, I mean, you look at the Bears last year, how much a good O-line actually changed them. And obviously Caleb Williams, whatever. And Ben Johnson's a great coach, but look at how much a difference it makes to have an amazing offensive line. And then also take a look at like Justin Jefferson in Minnesota, like no O-line. That team did not end up looking very good. Obviously their quarterback sucks, but you can have the greatest Maserati, sitting in the garage, but if the garage won't open, then you're not going to go anywhere. And having a great O-line is gonna definitely help that out. And that's where we, ultimately get that solution of, it's kind of a win-win, but maybe more on the side of the receiver. I think I agree with you, Jack.
Yeah, I think both of them though they do go interchangeably. Ethan, you got any final thoughts?
The draft is coming up within the next few weeks. It's going to get me, excited for Brown season again. It's been so many years of pain, and I'm extremely.
Can I put that out there?
You don't like the draft?
I don't like the draft itself is cool. Like the lead up to it, who you're going to getting your guys is cool. It takes way too long. Like it
is a long time.
It takes way too long. Like It's just like, I mean, if you pick at 6, it's like an hour into the draft already. I mean, like at least we suck every single year.
Yeah.
Like imagine if we were like, well, then again, you don't care about like, I mean, my buddies in Buffalo, like, oh, who did we draft? Oh, cool. They don't care.
Yeah.
Every year. They look
Josh Allen's the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Josh. We our pick was Josh Allen 10 years ago, so we're fine. But no, if we ever get to the point where we are like, if we win 10 games in back-to-back years, I can't wait to not watch the draft.
You're so right. Like the year when we made the playoffs, beat the Steelers. Yeah.
I would
Next
say
year,
even too,
yeah.
dude. It's just like, oh, and he like and here's like Ethan Shum, the receiver out of Virginia Tech, and when he was 8 years old, the
Yeah.
9 closest people to him in his life all burned in a fire, and then
Yeah.
when he was 15 years old, the next 9 closest
Yes.
people into his life died in a bus accident. Like
You're
it's so negative. It's so sad.
you're spot on. And the last thing I will say, you're so spot on. I want to get to a point where our football team is good enough to where we don't have to care about the draft.
That bingo.
You're
Bingo.
so right.
That
right.
Honestly, that sums up the last 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. We'll be back real soon here on Ring Chase. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back. Deuces.